Most people don't realize how often your brain is being pulled, nudged, and hijacked every single day. That restless feeling, the urge to check your phone, the inability to stay focused, and the constant need for stimulation are not personality flaws. Psychology explains why this is happening, and more importantly, how a simple moment can interrupt it. By the end of this, you will understand what dopamine is really doing inside your brain, why modern life keeps it overstimulated, and how a brief, intentional pause can reset your attention, motivation, and emotional balance. This is not about discipline or willpower. It is about understanding how your brain works and using that knowledge to regain control. Dopamine is often misunderstood as the pleasure chemical, but that description is incomplete. Dopamine is better understood as the anticipation and motivation signal. It rises when your brain expects a reward, not just when you receive one. This is why scrolling, notifications, and constant novelty are so powerful. Your brain is being trained to chase anticipation rather than satisfaction. Every time you check your phone, refresh a feed, or jump between tasks, dopamine spikes briefly and then drops. Over time, your brain adapts. What once felt exciting becomes normal, and what once felt normal starts to feel boring or even uncomfortable. This is how overstimulation quietly erodes focus, patience, and motivation. You may notice it when silence feels heavy, when stillness feels uncomfortable, or when doing one task without distraction feels unusually difficult. Your brain is not broken, it has simply learned a new baseline. Here is where the idea of a dopamine reset gets misunderstood. A true reset does not require hours of deprivation or extreme routines. What the brain needs is a clear signal that the constant chase has stopped, even briefly. This is where the 10-second reset comes in. The reset begins with intentional stillness, not passive scrolling, not distraction disguised as rest, true stillness. For 10 seconds, you stop seeking input. No phone, no music, no conversation. You place your attention on one physical sensation, such as your breath or the feeling of your feet on the ground. This moment matters because it interrupts the loop. Dopamine thrives on anticipation. When you remove the expectation of reward, even briefly, dopamine levels begin to stabilize. The brain shifts from seeking mode into processing mode. At first, this pause may feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is important. It is a sign that your brain has been overstimulated and is learning how to tolerate calm. Most people mistake this discomfort as boredom or anxiety, but it is actually the nervous system recalibrating. Think about how this shows up in daily life. You sit down to work and feel the urge to check your phone after a few minutes. You open an app without thinking. You feel restless while waiting in line. These are not random impulses, they are learned responses. When you insert a 10-second pause at the moment of urge, something interesting happens. The urge weakens, not because you fought it, but because you didn't feed it. The brain learns that not every impulse needs action. This is where the rewiring begins. The brain changes through repeated experience, not through force. Each time you pause instead of reacting, you strengthen neural pathways associated with self-regulation and attention. Over time, this becomes easier and more automatic. Have you noticed how some people seem calm even in busy environments? It is not that they are less tempted, it is that their brains are not constantly chasing stimulation. They have trained their nervous systems to tolerate stillness. The 10-second reset works because it restores contrast. Dopamine systems rely on contrast to function well. When everything is stimulating, nothing feels rewarding. By allowing brief moments of low stimulation, your brain regains sensitivity. This sensitivity is what makes simple things enjoyable again. A conversation feels more engaging. A task feels more satisfying. Rest feels restful rather than restless. Motivation begins to return naturally. Another important part of this reset is awareness without judgment. During the pause, you are not trying to calm down or feel better. You are simply noticing. Noticing your breath, noticing tension, noticing thoughts without chasing them. This matters because judgment activates stress responses. When you criticize yourself for being distracted, dopamine and stress hormones become tangled. Awareness without judgment allows the brain to reset without resistance. You may be wondering how something so brief can have a real impact. The answer lies in timing. The reset is most powerful when used at the moment of urge, right before you reach for stimulation, right when distraction calls your name. This is a pattern interrupt. The brain expects a reward, and instead, it gets stillness. Over time, this weakens the association between urge and action. The brain learns flexibility. In relationships, this shows up as better listening and emotional regulation. Instead of reacting impulsively, you pause. That pause gives your emotional brain time to settle and your rational brain time to engage. In work, this shows up as improved focus. Tasks feel less overwhelming because your brain is no longer constantly switching contexts. You regain the ability to stay with one thing at a time. In your inner world, this shows up as clarity. Thoughts feel less chaotic. Emotions feel more manageable. You stop feeling pulled in 10 directions at once. There is a surprising insight here. The goal is not to eliminate dopamine. Dopamine is essential for motivation, learning, and joy. The goal is to restore balance, to shift from compulsive seeking to intentional engagement. Many people try to solve overstimulation by adding more stimulation. Background noise, multitasking, constant entertainment. This only deepens the imbalance. The reset works because it does the opposite. Another key aspect is consistency. One pause will help in the moment, but repeated pauses teach the brain a new rhythm. Over time, the baseline shifts. You feel less driven by impulse and more guided by choice. You may notice resistance at first. Thoughts like, "This is pointless," or "I don't have time for this," may appear. These thoughts are not truth. They are signs of a brain used to constant input. Ask yourself a simple question during the pause. What am I avoiding right now? Often, the urge for stimulation is not about pleasure. It is about avoiding discomfort, boredom, or emotion. When you allow that feeling to exist for 10 seconds, you build emotional resilience. You show your brain that discomfort is tolerable and temporary. This is how the reset rewires your brain, not through force, but through experience. The brain learns that it does not need constant stimulation to feel okay. Over time, this practice changes how you experience life. You become more present, more patient, more aware. You stop chasing relief and start experiencing depth. The most powerful part of this reset is that it is available anytime. You do not need special tools, perfect conditions, or long periods of silence. Just 10 seconds of intentional pause. As you begin to use this, notice the small changes. Notice how urges soften. Notice how focus returns. Notice how your relationship with stimulation changes. This is not about becoming less human. It is about becoming more intentional, more grounded, more in control of where your attention goes. The brain is always learning. Every pause teaches it something new. Over time, those lessons add up. If this idea resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on where your attention has been going lately. Consider trying the pause the next time you feel pulled toward distraction. If you found this helpful, share your thoughts, stay connected, and continue exploring how small shifts can create meaningful change. The most powerful rewiring often begins with the simplest moment of awareness.